Hi, guys. So I'm here in Alberta again, and I'm just looking at one of these, and this is probably a man-made lake. I'm not sure, but it's by one of these mining operations. But isn't this interesting? This coming in, like, what is this? And then it goes on, it stops. Now, it could be us, or it could be a leftover. But you can see this whole thing is man-made. Now, it could be from them. Because I'm telling you, I'm looking at this stuff. But they say that they, like, I don't know, is this all mining? But it's all over here. And I'm assuming it is because of these type of roads that you're seeing there. What a scar. What a horrible scar. Like, they've just stripped. When they say that we haven't done anything, I've never been an environmentalist, until I started looking at maps and seeing what they actually are doing. All of their fluff pieces that they have, how they're so environmentally friendly. How could that be friendly? It's really is something to see when you start seeing some of these mining operations, how much they actually completely destroy. Look at all this. There used to be other people's property and stuff, or maybe they're still even doing it. But whatever they're doing here is this. What is that? I heard somebody say on a thing, stop looking, you found what you don't look anymore. We already know about all of this stuff. You don't need to look for Tatari or the mud floods or anything like that anymore. I'm not necessarily looking for anything. I'm just looking because there is still a lot to learn. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And I don't care who you are, you don't have it all. I don't care who you are, you don't have it all. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And I really want to talk about certain things, but I am going to hold off at the moment. Yeah, so that's what's going on in Alberta. This kind of operations that they're doing, that they're saying that they're not hurting the environment. Of course they're not. That doesn't hurt the environment whatsoever, right there. That doesn't hurt. And this isn't us, guys. This isn't us. This is corporations that are doing this to our environment. This is not us. We do not do this. We do not demand this. We do not demand recyclable things. We demand things that last, that we don't have to buy every 5 years, that they don't actually put warrant things in it, computer chips and things like your washer and dryers to make them stop working. Like, how many times have you guys had a printer and had to replace it because they have that fail-safe in them? The reason why the world is the way it is, guys, is because we've allowed these people to have free reign of the earth, and that's what they do to us. That's what they do to this earth. And then they tell us that, we're overpopulated. But when you look at it, where's all the people? Few subdivisions here and there. Where's all the people? It's not overpopulated. It's exactly what I've said. It's the driving. You drive. Look at how many people could fit all over the place. Everywhere. Everywhere. We're not overpopulated. What we are is reliant on corporations that don't have our best interest, that only care about the dollar, that don't care about the people and don't care about the environment. But we do not have an overpopulation. And guess what, guys? Out of Africa is a lie. It's part of the Black Lives Movement. It is not true. When you start looking into the past, when you start looking, and you'll see that there's a lot of Caucasian people that have been genocided right along with everybody else. It is not one nationality over another. That's still part of the bid to try to make us fight against each other. But the out of Africa is not even taught anymore in universities because it's so incorrect. And if you go into that, you will find that the Berbers live in Africa, and they're indigenous, and they're white people with blue eyes and red hair, and they're indigenous. It is not, that is not true. We are different species. Everyone, if you read your Bible again, go back and read your Bible again, and you will see that there are multiple creation stories. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's multiple creation stories. And we know exactly where the Caucasian race comes from. You know exactly through DNA evidence. That is not false. And if it is false, if DNA evidence is false, guys, then stop saying that there's DNA in the rocks. You cannot use it for one thing and then slander a whole race and try to change all of history, that everything's been whitened, is not what I found. I've not found that when I've been looking through all the old books and that. Yeah, I have found some kings from England that are black, but some, not all. And everybody, like they if you go into the Tartarian mud floods, and it's being promoted by a lot of people who are Christian right now, who are being misled, or are misleading. Because when you start looking at the information, it is not that. DNA does not lie. You know, go back to that video that I had, and if you can't look at that video, if you can't look at the evidence, if you can't look at the DNA evidence, then you have blinders on. If you cut off people when they start to talk about something that you dislike, then you have blinders on. We have seen a systematic a hate campaign against Caucasian people. We've seen a genocide of Caucasian people throughout the last 100 years, and it's been ramping up. It's a genocide that has been happening, not against it's not just one culture, but right now, there is a push right now to hate white people. And if that's what you're promoting, and if you are a Christian and you are promoting this hatred of white people, it's the elites. It's not the white people. Because I live in a country that up until a few years ago was basically Caucasian, with Native Americans, which are basically Caucasian. We all come from those. Pretty much everybody who's here in Canada, especially in the area that I live in, are more white than they are anything else. And they have like 85 to 90% of their DNA is Caucasian. So they're the same thing as I am. And I've lived in a neighborhood and a life in a place in Alberta, and I've lived in Calgary and Edmonton and all over the place. And I've never had to lock my door. I've never had to worry about walking outside in the nighttime. I've never had to worry about that. But you know what now? Now with immigration that's come into our country, people that are coming in that are not Christian, do not have any form of Christian values whatsoever. We have been kicked out of neighborhoods. There's towns like Tabor where all of the Caucasian people have had to move out, and the Indians as well. All the Native people had to move out because it was too dangerous for them, because the immigrants came in there and they would rape anything. This is what's been going on here in Alberta. And now whole neighborhoods has been taken over, and they're violent. They're violent. So I never raised in a violent country. The people that I was raised around had a form of kindness. We're caring. But the people that are coming in who are non-Christians are not, and they're violent. And they've taken over neighborhoods, and now certain neighborhoods have become, white people are not allowed in them. They've got street police that will allow you to go in there if you are Caucasian, in a Caucasian country, in a Christian country. So I'm really, really tired of hearing this lies about us. And if you're promoting that, then you are not being honest with yourself. I'm just going to leave it at that. That's about the end of that. There is so much information about what I'm talking about, and DNA does not lie, or else you cannot use them in the rocks. I love you guys, but the fight is a lot bigger, and knowing who we are, knowing, Caucasian race have not always been great. I'm not painting them as perfect. We know that there's the Viking Wars. We know a lot of wars that the Caucasians have done. But it's not just the Caucasians. The majority of the world is not white people. It's a very small percentage, that is. Look at China. Look at all of these other countries. Look at Africa. Look at the violence that are towards the people in these countries, in India, the prejudice. Look at what the Chinese did to the Tibetans. Genocide of their own people. So it is not a white thing. It is an elite thing. It is rulers of countries that are doing this. And for as long as you keep on pointing it at one particular, those rulers have all taken over in the last couple of 100 years. They are not the original rulers, that is true. But the original rulers were not all black. They were not all Chinese. They were not all white. There was a much more cohesiveness in the past than what you see today. So just, this, you are going along with the Black Lives Movement. That's what you're doing. You're going along with the Black Lives Movement. And you are not doing service to your own culture. If you are a white man, you are not doing service to it. And if I for a while, I was thinking that some of you guys are misleading and are literally are lying to people, because the evidence doesn't show any of that. When I searched this, because I believed exactly what you guys did. But when I started to look, I started to see it was opposite from what the out of Africa. That's what I started to see. And then I started to see that there were a few pictures. And now, you know what I'm starting to see? I'm starting to see that they are fudging pictures now. Now they're like, you go into the mud flood ones, and people are throwing up things of Nikola Tesla showing he was a black man, or just people that we may even have known in our own lifetime. Now they're starting to become ludicrous, guys. We know exactly where the white Caucasian race came from. Go back to that video. You'll figure it out. Please watch it. Go and look at the research that's on it. And stop just because you have a dislike for something. Does not make it true, guys. Anyways, this is kind of turned into something I didn't really want it to be. I really want this message to come out, but I'll tell you, I'm getting tired of the lies and the manipulations, making it sound like as if it's only one race, and let's get rid of that one race. And as soon as we get rid of that race, everybody will be just fine. And that's what's happening. And it's being promoted by white Christians. So I'm going to let you go. I've really talked enough. Talk to you later.